we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado.
This is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
Man, you know it's been a hell of a week. I've been hustling hard. I'm sure that we've all had a couple obstacles to overcome this week. And why not? When you're out there working hard, trying to get it, trying to change yourself to be a better person, you are going to hit some speed bumps on the way, so that's to be expected. But it's a good week, and we're finishing out strong. Episode 104 with Brynn is in the building.
Hey, it's Brynn. She's with us.
What's up?
Very exciting night, very exciting night. But you guys know for sure, before we get into this, if you need CBD, if you have CBD needs, and you want to get 20% off of one of the best products in the game, go to mountainmadecbd.com and enter promo code DCPC.
That's right, Art. You just hit them with the best deal we have rolled out yet. You'll see it right there at the bottom of the screen, guys. mountainmadecbd.com. That crystal clear CBD that you need to succeed. Promo code DCPC will now save you 20% off the entire order. What a great way to try this product. If you've heard about it, you've been watching our show, you go, man, I want to try it. Well, now you can save a little money, you know?
And they're doing big things. Once you find your products, it becomes very easy. Auto ship, auto discounts. The promo code is not included with those, but once you get set up, you just make it super easy. They have products for your dogs, products for athletes, products for people trying to alleviate pain with different symptoms. CBD is helpful in so many different arenas for health. I use it as an anti-inflammatory. I use it to kind of just calm myself. Honestly, if I've had too many drinks and I'm feeling a little rough the next day, CBD.
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a good supplement for, your ibuprofen or things of that nature. It takes away the pain. A lot of people get confused with CBD. They think, man, I'm supposed to feel something from this. But it's not always about what you feel. It's what you don't feel. It's taking away the stress, the anxiety. Whatever you're going through, CBD can definitely ease your pain. And again, that's mountainmadecbd.com. Promo code DCPC is going to save you 20% off that order. And that's hashtag go like hell.
Let's go like hell, baby. And we are also brought to you by Wild Outdoor Adventures. Now, Wild Outdoor Adventures is a Colorado company, so if you're interested in the state, you want to check it out, then go ahead and visit WOAMEET.com to sign up for free and see all the events they got going on.
That's right, Art. Doesn't cost you anything but your time. You're going to have some great experiences here in the beautiful state of Colorado. Get outdoors, enjoy the wilderness. The masks are coming off. Let's get some fresh air. Let's meet some people along the way. We got trail hikes coming up. We got four-wheeling trips coming up. Backpacking. Great stuff.
Beautiful weather, sunshine, vitamin D on the skin. You're seeing the trees. You're feeling the breeze.
Oh, I need that vitamin D, brother, and then get me outdoors.
It's a lovely thing, Go outside and enjoy this beautiful life. We only got today once, so get outside, and that is less dreaming and more exploring.
Let's jump into this. Man, this is episode 104. It's going to be a fun night. We got, it's Brynn with us. Hey, welcome aboard.
Hey guys, thank you for having me. Super excited.
Yeah, this is going to be a great time. Where can people find you right out of the gate?
You can find me on Instagram, AYEEITS, that's me. And then you can also find me on YouTube, different YouTube channels. This one, and then I do a Colorado body, it's a massage. She does massages. She does the ASMR type stuff. So I'm on her YouTube channel as well.
Excellent.
And then, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you're a hustler. We were talking to you before, getting hot on the mics, you could say, and you're trying a lot of different things. You're working hard. You're working a lot of the time, and you just have that hustle and grind right now.
Yeah, so I work at full-time Fogo de Chão. Shout out Fogo fam. And then on the side I do modeling. I clean on the side, and then I pick up stuff like this all the time. And then
a lot of great things.
Yeah, just different things along the way. I've always been like an entrepreneur, and being a server and a bartender, I've definitely been able to venture out and do different things because I'm not tied down to one job, and I can take time off if I need to. So I've always liked that about my job.
Yeah, it's nice to have that flexibility a little bit, do things that you want to do, and further. Because what's the ultimate goal for you? Do you want to be full-time modeling? Do you want to do a little bit of acting? What are you thinking?
I definitely would like to be a full-time or full-time model, not so much acting, but maybe get signed with like Nike or Adidas or like Victoria's Secret would be
Brand
like
ambassador.
it would be like the ultimate goal, not like anything like local really. Or like, and I'm really into traveling. I've traveled a bunch since I was 18. I started traveling around. If I could do something like maybe travel model, that would be super good. Or if I how the social media, how people start making money doing that. If I could get into that, that'd be super awesome.
That would be clutch. I mean, it takes a lot of work being a content creator. And I feel like there's that whole, this person's just super rich and they're just having a great life and they're just video. But it actually takes a lot of work to make it look right and do it right. So credit to all the ones that are doing it correctly. But yeah, that would be a dream job for sure. You're out there doing your thing, traveling. So since I haven't traveled that much. I've been like stuck in Colorado my whole life, like kind of in a shell here. I've done some things, but have you been out of country, and like where's the favorite place you've been?
Yeah, so my first trip I was in college, and our teacher, he reached out and he takes like a group every year, and that year it was to Costa Rica, and I was like, hell yeah. I was like, I want to go somewhere, like, and I was like just 18, didn't know what I was doing, like I was like, let's just travel. And so I went with them, and I had the time of my life. We went for like 9 days, and just that experience alone, like we went ziplining, we went to like a whole bunch of different just places around. It was on a bus, which was not the funnest, but I mean, you just travel around, see the whole countryside.
Was it sketchy dirt roads on the bus?
Yeah,
and they drove really fast.
Any bus south of the border is sketch.
Yeah, it was super scary because we were on I remember we were on this mountain, and there's no paved roads really in Costa Rica. It's still like it was scary, and we were on this mountain, and it was a huge bus. I remember one time we got like stuck. They had to like back up forward. It was super scary, and I'm scared of heights. So, so even
hopefully
flying,
you were closer to the mountain, not the window seat.
I hate the window seats, even on planes.
Really, you don't like the window?
No, I get super. I do. I did it first, but then the more I think about it, I get kind of sketched out. But like the more scary movies and stuff that I watch with plane crashes.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So that 9 days, and I was like texting, calling my mom, like, this is amazing. Like, I want to do this more. And then I graduated shortly after that trip. I think I might have been 19 instead of 18. But then I was just an hour away from home at the time. But I had my own apartment, was doing good. I had like 3 jobs at the time. I was a server at Pizza Hut. That was where I started serving, and then I was making like a bunch. That was when I like started making my own money, like tips every night, and I was like, wow, I'm making like, I have money in the bank, I can like do stuff. And my boss at the time was super cool. Shout out Mike. He let me do anything. Like I would be like, hey Mike, I'm gonna go to Mexico next, and he's like, okay, here's your days,
Oh,
so I was
nice.
like, yeah, I was like, okay, I was like, this is awesome. And he would like, and he taught me, I was one of the shift leaders, so I was making pretty good hourly wage plus tips. So I had money in the bank to go, and then the company World Ventures, one of my friends was doing it, and I was like, at the time I was like, oh yeah, like let's do this. And I talked to my parents about it, and they're like, try it out. And so I just got a membership. And then I saw like it was super cheap, and I realized to some people it's not cheap, but to me at the time I was like, this is like, I'm making enough money to do this. And so my first trip actually, he my like sponsor, whatever, he was like, I have a friend, she's a really good friend of mine, we can all go, it's like a group trip. And I was like, this is amazing, like I definitely want to go. It was to the Unico Resort in Riviera Maya, Mexico. And he was like, I'll send you her contact information. I was like, okay. Never met this girl before in my life. And she messages me, and she's like, hey, I'm Fern's friend. Send me $500 and I'll book our ticket. And I'm like, $500? Like, I don't even know this woman. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And so I sent her the money.
And it worked?
Yeah.
Okay.
And cause
so you're a risk taker,
yeah,
is what you're telling us. Right?
Yeah, I do. And like, yeah, I've always, like, whenever there's like an opportunity that comes my way, I've always taken it. Like,
That's
whether
good.
it's kind of sketchy, like I go with my gut most of the time. Sometimes it definitely, like, I've gotten bit in the butt, but
Sure.
Most of the time it's like so many doors and friendships. And and I didn't even meet this girl until we got there. Or what was it? Or we got to like the airport and we met, and I was like, oh my gosh! And so she was super cool. Ended up like 5 minutes later, I got like a confirmation email. I was like, she didn't take my money. I was like,
That's
cool.
always a nice feeling.
Yeah.
For that 5 minutes, you were sweating super like that Keen and Peele, like that sweat, like that.
yeah.
meme.
Oh yeah,
There's that
where
moment.
he's, like, going down.
There's that moment where you're like, man, what's happening right now? Did I just get screwed over? Did I get the wool pulled over my eyes, so to speak?
Yeah.
But it's good. Sometimes you got to roll the dice, because some great things come out of it.
Yeah. And I super trusted Fernando, the one that he was like, this is my really good friend. And I'm like, okay, like he's not going to like screw me over. So I just like was like, okay, I want to go to Mexico. And so she took my money and we went and we got there. And the first night, like, how old? I think I was like 19, 20, but they let us drink, like they let you drink over there in Mexico. But I just remember,
isn't it like 18?
Yeah,
Pretty sure, yeah.
because I just remember I got like we went to the pool and like everyone was partying and I partied hard. And the funniest part is I mentioned that part is because Alicia found me like in the bathroom. I had fallen asleep in the stall and she came and found me and she took care of me that night, like this complete stranger. Like
sounds like a nice person.
Yeah, she took care of me. Like we had the best time. We were with a whole group of friends like that I had met on that trip, and but she took care of me. And then the whole rest of that week, like we partied. We were with friends. It was like an all-inclusive resort, so we had
Those are the
food.
best.
Yeah, it was super fun.
But see, so here's the thing. Like I've been to Mexico, so I can't say I've done that.
I have too.
And the last time I only went to one all-inclusive resort as an adult, right? So it was like 5 days there. We get there,
too much.
You're kind of acquainting yourself with it, and then like right by the end is when I feel like I figured out how to work the all-inclusive resort.
Yeah.
Because you got to kind of get acquainted, like how much do I want to eat here, or like how am I going to do these meals because they're all included, and still try everything. So
I was so confused at first because I was like couldn't grasp like you can just go to the restaurant, order what you want, and then it's like you don't have to pay. You can just get up and leave. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what is this? And then same with the drinks. You just go to any of the pool bars, any bar, you just get your drink and go. And I was like young at the time, so it was just fun to me. And then I remember on that trip, I was talking to my sponsor and I was like, dude, I want to go on another trip. And I booked my next trip that like there. I hadn't even left Mexico yet. Yeah. And so that next month, that was in June. And then July, I went to Miami with the same group. August, I went back to Mexico. September, I went back to Mexico. October, I went to Miami. November, I went to New York City. And then December, I went to Hollywood with my friend Kim. So that whole year, I just like every month, and that's why my serving was so cool, because like I went back home, made enough money, went on a trip, got the days off. So I just partied and got to travel that whole year. And so then what did I do? I went on another one that in January, or I skipped January and February, and then in March I went to South Padre with one of my friends. Yeah, and it was a freaking long drive. I drove there, and I picked up my friend Kyle on the way, and we went down there, partied, and then drove back. I think he had to drive back because I was like, I was dead after that.
Pretty good hike down there, yeah.
Yeah, and it was during spring break, so that was fun. And then what did I do? I went to Florida again with the same group, and then I went to the Bahamas. I went to when was it? The Dominican Republic. Whenever it was when everyone was dying over there, and everyone was like, "Don't go and drink." But I still went because I had already paid.
How was it?
I was honestly kind of scared at first, like, and my parents were freaking out, of course, and didn't want me to go. But I was like, I already paid for it.
What year was it?
Was it like just like 2 years ago?
That's okay.
Whenever that big, I don't know what.
Oh,
was up with
the huge storm that hit and the power was out for like 2 months or whatever.
No, when the liquor, there was like people dying from the mini bars when they were like drinking the liquor and stuff.
Okay,
I don't remember hearing about that.
Oh, really?
And that was in the Dominican Republic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what was in the liquor? What was going on?
I don't know what there was. Like there was some it was like a few people. They had drinking from the mini bar, or it was different bottles.
Oh, in different
from,
hotels?
Yeah, and
Okay.
people were like dying, and like they weren't sure, like they couldn't concentrate like the source or like what was going on really. But I was like, YOLO.
I was just gonna say, like, fuck it, you only live once. Let's go try this thing.
So, and that was a really fun trip too. And then so right before the pandemic, I booked a trip to Europe. And I wasn't in World Ventures anymore. Because I kind of, after that year and like a half of just like traveling every month, I got a new job at back home at Billy's, little like barbecue joint.
And home is a tiny town in Kansas.
Yeah.
Southwest Kansas.
Southwest Kansas. Elkhart, Kansas is where I was raised, where I graduated. I had 31 people in my graduating class.
Oh, that is tiny.
Oh, that's smaller than mine.
Yeah,
I
it
thought I
was-
had the record.
What
Yeah.
was yours? Like 200 something?
No, I was like 100 and change. Small town living. You
We
got
had
me beat.
130 people in our like high school. Like,
Wow.
but yeah, like.
So
and then-
everybody knew everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was. Yeah. That part about growing up, I hated, and like.
Because
still-
everybody knew everybody. And
Yeah.
everyone knew everyone's business.
Yeah, and like the rich, popular people, you know, like everyone knew about them. Everyone knew about who was sleeping with who. Like it was.
It's terrible, isn't it? I hate gossip.
Yeah.
Sounds like Dramaville.
It was
because everyone's being judged all the time. It doesn't feel. It doesn't feel genuine.
Yeah. It was definitely hard, and like I mean I wasn't like an outcast or anything in the school, but I didn't have like a million bajillion friends, and like but I mean I still had like a great time.
Well, if you only had 31 in the graduating class, it'd be hard to have a million bajillion.
yeah.
But hey, it's
But-
you know it's I always say it's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
You know.
And I definitely had.
Do you still
really
have
good
some
friends.
people that you keep pretty close to you
Yeah.
from your home?
Yeah, actually, my friend Allie, she lives down in Parker. We
wow.
went to school together in pre-K, so we've been together like
Oh,
21.
that's one of those solid
That's old
friends.
school.
Yeah.
That's where it
Yeah.
goes back to the crib almost.
Yeah, you got to appreciate those friends. I had one friend in preschool, and he lived in Denver. I moved to Parker, and we lost touch. Like the city kids were cooler than me or something, and like he stopped calling me back. So Colin, you would have been my longest friend if you're listening.
It
but
takes effort to
he
maintain.
He stopped reaching out.
Yeah.
But so since we're talking geography, I had a would you rather that will fit in here, so I'm gonna throw it in right now. Do you like the mountains? Are you in the mountains at all?
Yeah, I like to go hiking. I did some have
Perfect.
done some hiking.
That's good. So if let's say you're a mountain dweller,
Okay.
you're living in mountains.
Okay.
All right. So would you rather live in the Appalachian Mountains, which is like on the East Coast, like goes all the way from Georgia to New England?
Yeah, all the way through.
So that's like the Appalachian Trail, like
Smoky
that's on
Mountains,
there.
beautiful.
Yeah. So that's a cool mountain range. Or this is also in the United States, the Pacific Mountain Range, which is like northwest.
Like the Sierra Nevadas.
Like, is that what it's called?
Well, that's like the California.
Well,
like the big,
no, I'm thinking more like
Oh, the Pacific, like so Oregon.
yeah,
Washington
Oregon
State.
up into Canada.
What mountain range is that?
It said Pacific
Northwest
Range.
Okay.
Pacific
Is that the
Mountain
would you
Range.
rather?
Isn't it like
Yeah.
colder on the Appalachian? Isn't that like more
Which one would be
Would it
colder?
be-
I think the Northwest one the Pacific Mountain Range would be rainier.
It would be.
But then the Appalachians are called the Smoky Mountains because they're always like misty and stuff too.
That's in the southern portion of it.
Oh, is that only south?
Smoky
okay.
Mountains is like the Carolina region. Again, as our viewers know, we're not experts in anything, but that's what I've heard.
So how about let's say Appalachian Mountains, or you could live in mountains on the west coast of America.
That's a very specific would you rather, Art.
Well, it's two different mountain ranges, similar type
Probably.
of
Let's see what
region.
Brynn's thoughts are in this.
Yeah.
west? Probably.
You would go northwest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
Like,
so you're
well,
going
I've
into
been to-
Murder Mountain, right?
I've
Into
been-
the Murder Mountain zone, huh?
I've been to Oregon, and like I know it's so pretty up there. Like yeah, I'd probably go up there.
Yeah.
Those ones.
I think I'm going to take the Appalachians just because I'm from New England, and I remember there was the Appalachian Trail that runs all the way from Georgia. I think it's from Georgia all the way up through New Hampshire, Maine area. And there was a guy that completed that whole thing. Like, he set the world record for the time completing it. That's a lot of land to
It
cover.
is. It takes weeks, months, doesn't it?
I don't know how long it takes, Art, because I've never
Probably
done it. But
Well, you were just talking about the record. What was it?
I don't know what the record is, Art. I could make something up, but it's
shit.
going to be inaccurate.
I'm saying it takes months.
What I'm going
That's
to
my
tell you
best
is
guess.
this. I've never been to the Pacific Northwest. I've been a lot of places in this country, but I've never been there.
Beautiful
so
place.
I think that's the reason I would take the East. just because
That makes
that's what I'm
sense.
not familiar with.
That does make sense. So if I was going to take the Appalachians, it would be probably mid from north to south, in the mid somewhere. But then it's so populated out east. Like I feel like
Yeah.
there's so many people.
It's populated out west too, Art.
Hey, but,
Yeah, but
when you get into like the Oregons and like all that, because
It kinda just-
like there's something. I went to Oregon and it was the vibe. It was kind of
That's where
magical,
you snapped your ankle.
and that was painful.
It was a horrible
And
injury.
even with this, yeah. So I get there, I'm carrying all this baggage.
I know he wanted to tell the story again.
Well, you haven't heard it, so
She might have listened.
she
I
didn't hear
didn't
this.
hear it.
So like, yeah, we're walking to the Airbnb, me and my girlfriend, and the last step is a drainage step. So it's like sloped
okay.
for all the rain and water.
Yeah.
And I'm carrying 2 heavy bags. I got a backpack on my weight, and like I came down on my left ankle. Like the step was further down than I anticipated, and the angle. And yeah, I was in a boot and crutches the whole vacation.
Oh.
But even with that, it was still such an amazing. Like I don't even think about that when I think about that trip, because the views were amazing. Like it was so beautiful. So I'm going the Pacific Mountain Range. You know, and that mountain range is right on the ocean. Like that's it's so dramatic. You have the Pacific, and then you have like this mountain range right on it, which is really cool in my opinion.
The prettiest mountain range or like mountains was when I went to Switzerland. Oh, wow. And we went 10,000 feet up to Mount Titlis.
You have done some traveling.
Yeah, it was freaking like I have a picture of it, and it's like we're up in the clouds, and like just there's snow covered. It was like beautiful. It was like Switzerland was breathtaking.
Did you do trains out there at all? Take any trains?
Yeah, we did. There's one that like goes under the water, and like connect and like then goes back up on land. But I fell asleep, so I kind of missed that part. But
Bummer.
we did go on that one. But
It's probably really peaceful though, like underneath there, like you know.
Yeah.
Is
I
Switzerland?
couldn't blame you.
Is that Swiss? Is that where the Swiss comes from?
Yes.
Yeah, like
yes.
Swiss Alps.
Wait.
Well, no, because I was thinking about a Grand Tour episode, Arthur. Before you jump on Mr. Geography over
no,
here.
because he's been giving me. I messed up where a lake is, and he just asked me, "Is Swiss?"
I was
from
trying to
Switzerland?
understand where it was. You know, so I
I'm
can
pretty
my
sure it's Swiss Alps. Yeah.
The Swiss Alps, yes.
Is where Mount Titlis is. Yeah.
You know, the Swiss Army knives come from that region. I remember a Grand Tour episode. You ever seen the Grand Tour on Amazon Prime?
It's like the
Jeremy
British
Clarkson.
guys talking about cars.
Yeah, it's like the new Top Gear, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
And they were doing an episode in Switzerland, and they were just bummed out about the roadways, and they just said, "Oh, Swiss," you know, they were just bummed out about it. Their experience. I've never been to Europe. I've never been on that side of the pond, but
It's super. The only thing that sucked about it was getting there. It was like a
a long ass flight.
It was like 12. I think it was 14 hours.
Oh wow!
There and then
From here, from Denver.
Did we? Yeah, I left from Denver, and then on the way back, it was less hours, or it's vice versa, because we flew into Madrid, Spain, and then we flew out of Athens, Greece. So, but yeah, we started in like Madrid, ended in Athens. So I went to I'm gonna blank on all of these. There was like 14, 16 places.
So you did like a huge Euro trip.
Yeah, it was
That's
35
awesome.
days.
Did you go to Ireland by chance?
No, that one wasn't included, but I definitely want to. That's on my bucket list.
Is Ireland?
Ireland, Wales, and Scotland.
New Zealand is one I gotta see before.
Yeah.
And then Hawaii is definitely one I want to check out. Have you been?
No, that one is my neck. Like me and my boyfriend have been talking about going somewhere. It's either Mexico or Hawaii. So hopefully this summer.
Well, you've been to Mexico.
I know,
But
it's-
Hawaii's like one of those where like there's not a paid inclusive resort, so you have to have a saving and like be prepared to pay more because it's on an island.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like worth it. Everyone's it's worth it.
Well,
so.
it's like one of the it is the most remote island chain in the world, and just all of the fauna, what was it, fauna? No, it's the words for plants and animals are very unique out there.
And the people.
For plants and animals?
Just like
Yeah.
general.
Yeah. I'd like to get out there. My cousin lives out there. She moved out there.
Nice.
So I might have a little bit of connection there. Shout out Kirsten if she's watching.
How many rooms does she have?
I mean, I don't know, but
Well,
if I
this
go
is
out there, I'm going to make
information
sure that she's going to
we
give me a
need
place
to
to
know.
stay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to go to Hawaii for sure.
Two of my coworkers just went, and then they did like hostels and stuff. They had their whole trip planned. But yeah, whenever I've looked, it's like it's kind of overwhelming because whenever I was with World Ventures, it was all like included. You just had to book it. And then now that I'm on my own, it's kind of like overwhelming to try to book a trip. But they did theirs pretty cool, and they did like hostels here and there and went to separate.
So
like,
with World Ventures, it's like a planned vacation that you like buy into.
Yeah,
So is it safer than just going rogue? Like,
I mean, I
feel
thought
like-
it was, because like it includes like a tour guide with your trip, and then it includes excursions, and like it includes your transports from the airport and like to your
okay, that's
destination. Yeah, so and then it basically has like where you're gonna stay. So you just go on there. It's like a huge website. They have all these curated. You basically just pick where you want to go and what days, and it'll tell you what they have, and then you pay for it, and everything else like they just send you like. You had to pay for flights at the time, but I think now like some of them are included. But yeah, you just picked where you wanted to go. They told you when your transports would be, so you basically just had to get like a flight that kind of matched that.
Okay.
And then they got you to your resort, and then as soon as you got there, they had like this welcome desk just for like the World Ventures people, and they gave you your tour guide was right there, and they would be or your host they call it, and then yeah, they like get you checked in, and then you're on your own, and then they have like excursions that are included. You can go with them, and those are really fun too. I did like zip lining and some cooking stuff and wine tastings and like a bunch of different things like that. And then just like the people, there was like they had like welcome parties, and basically just everyone got to meet each other, get drunk, have fun.
Enjoy the vacation.
Yeah, and then
it's
you meet like other like I always went alone. Like I would go alone and then meet people, or I would take a friend. I did have a boyfriend like I think, a boyfriend at the time, but he was like, never wanted to go, it wasn't fun. So I was like, always taking my friends. People are like, isn't that weird? I'm like, no, like I have the time of my life. Like it doesn't really matter. And I would meet people along the way. And then, yeah, I hated that I got out of it. But like I said, I started at Billy's, and I never got a day off. Like it was hard to get a day off there. So I basically I wasn't even there a year, but I saved up enough money, like, to pay for that Europe trip. I was gone for 35 days. And before I went, I was like, I'm going to, like, come back and, like, move to Denver. And they're like, oh, you're crazy, Brynn. Like, Denver's so expensive. Like, you can't do that. And I'm like, yes, I can. And so I went on my trip.
Tell me you can't.
Yeah, good for
Yeah.
you.
Hold my,
Level
hold
people
my
tell
beer.
you can't do
Yeah.
something.
And then
makes
you
dig
do it.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when you just go out there and get it.
That's right.
All
And
right.
you
That's
get
what
it.
yeah, it was, and I'm glad I did. I mean, it was right. I didn't know the pandemic was going to hit 3 months later, but I came and, it was kind of funny. I got back from Europe. It was like October 11th. And then, I was home and I quit. I had already quit my job like before I went on the trip. So I came back with no job. So I was like, okay, Brynn, you're going to have to actually do it. And so I called my friend Allie because she works, she lived here already. And I was like, hey, dude, like I need a job. Like, do you know? Because I knew she like waitress some, and it was at the Clock Tower Cabaret downtown. And she's like, well, let me message.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
One of our best friends got married there.
Yeah.
Okay,
it was
yeah,
a great night.
I love it. I loved it there. It was a fun time. But yeah, she's like, well, let me message my old boss and see if they're hiring. And I was like, okay. And that was like October 19th, I think, or the 20th or something. And she messaged me back that day, and she was like, hey, dude, I gave them your contact information, and I was like, okay. And then he messaged, or I don't know if it's him or Marlene. She messaged, like, the manager at the time. She probably still works there. I'm not sure. But she messaged me, and she's like, hey, she's like, Allie gave me your information. If you can get down here by, it was like a Thursday. It was like 4 days. And I was like, she's like, the job's yours. She's like, we need people. And I was like, I was like, okay. I was like, I just got back. I was like, and I still had an apartment in Liberal. It was an hour away from home. So in 2 days, I packed everything up out of my apartment. I moved it back. Everything I wasn't going to bring here, I moved back to my parents' house. My friend George, and he helped me move out.
Good man.
Yeah, he was like so done with me. He was like, I can't believe you're doing this shit.
That's how you know your
And-
real friends are.
Yeah, for real.
I love you. You're crazy. Goodbye.
For real. And so I got all my shit, went home, and then I was home for like that night. Like I had gotten everything out and moved, and I got on Craigslist because I was like, I obviously don't have time to get like an apartment like right then and there. So I got on Craigslist. I got scammed twice, lost $2,000.
Wait, so you got on Craigslist for housing?
Yeah, just like
Okay.
to find like a room.
Yeah.
And yeah, the first two people scam. So I lost $2,000 out the gate. And then
wow.
so
That's a lot to lose.
That's a big investment
yeah,
loss.
Yeah, that
and
sucks.
that was like the day I was coming in, because the night before I thought I found it, and I was like, okay, like I'm good to go down there. I got the job, like I'm good. I just gotta get to these people and move in. And then that day, like obviously it fizzled out, and I was like, oh my God. And I was supposed to go to work that night, and I still went to work because I was like, but I was freaking out. I had all my clothes in my car. I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm like calling my parents, and my mom's like, don't come back. Like my parents have always like pushed me, and like that's what I've always loved about them. I was adopted, and they just like gave me the best life, and they've always pushed me, and that's why I'm here today. And they were like, don't give up, and they're like, if you have to, stay in a hotel. And I was like, okay. And so the first night I actually stayed in a hostel, but the first night I went to work, and I met this girl, Ryan, and she's like, we just hit it off as soon as I got to work. She was super cool. And she's like, dude, where are you staying? And I was like, I'm staying in my car. I was like, I actually don't have any place.
I'm putting that together right
Yeah,
now.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that out. And she's like, are you serious? She's like, don't do. She's like, no. And a complete stranger, she like offered, she's like, well,
Wow.
I'm married. She's like, I have 2 kids. She's like, I live in a house, and I have an extra room. I was like, if you want, she's like, come stay with me. And I was like, oh my God, you know? And I'm like, okay. And at first I was like, no, like I'll be fine. And so I stayed in the hostel, and I don't know if they thought my name was like Brian, but they put me in a hostel with 6 other dudes. That
Uh-oh.
night. I was so scared.
no.
I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, okay. And I called her the next morning, and I was like, hey, I think I might take that offer.
Yes.
And she's like, yeah.
Yes.
And she's a assistant principal. And so I drove to her school.
That's a safer environment for
Yeah, and so I drove to her school, and she's like, "Hey, dude," she's like, "just stay in my office." She's like, I think I drove there at like 12, and she didn't get off till like 3 or 3:30, and I fell asleep in her office. She let me like sleep, like because I was so stressed out, I was tired, I was
Yeah, I
like,
mean, you haven't had good
overwhelmed.
sleep, you know?
Yeah, and I had just gotten back for like I was still jet lagged from Europe, like all that trip, and I passed out on the floor, and then I stayed with her for 2 weeks. It was like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And November 7th, I had landed my own apartment. And I had that. And then at the time, the boyfriend I was with, he was supposed to come with me. And he ended up just ghosting me. And so I had to get 2 jobs because I like got the apartment.
no.
And I was thinking
It was a big apartment.
Yeah, well, it wasn't big, but it was $1,300, and I was like thinking, oh, you know, he's gonna pay half, so it'll be fine. And then he never came, and so I got a second job at the time I was working, and I was out in Aurora, so I was driving to downtown every day, and then on my days off, I would work at Applebee's, and so I did that, and then the pandemic hit, and I got furloughed from both of those jobs, and I was like, oh shit, like what am I gonna do? And I luckily got the first round I got on the unemployment, and I made enough with that 600 stimulus that I could pay my rent. And so I stayed. I was so close to going back to Kansas and like giving up, but I was like, no, like I've already came this far.
Yeah,
for
you're
you.
so
Like,
close.
yeah.
Because
That's a test.
that's what they say is like when you're feeling the pain, when your mind is telling you to quit, when all that,
success.
yeah, that's right beyond that is success, you know.
Yeah, and I look back, and I was so close. Like I was so close to going back, and I stayed, and what did I do? I got a job at Mary Maids up in Westminster,
Mary
and
Maids.
so it's a cleaning company.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I still clean with my friend. But yeah, I did that for like 4 months, and then Fogo I had already like applied because I was like, that's a nice chain, like and it's a Brazilian steakhouse, and I was like, I can make money there. And I tried and tried. I think I applied like 3 times, and then it said again after the pandemic they were like looking for people. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try one more time. And they sent me a message. They were like, interview this date and time. I was like, yes. And so it was like a whole new door. And went and got the job, got insurance with them. So I've been there
That's
since
awesome.
October 2020. And then I met my new boyfriend, Derek, during that time. And he was a photographer, and that's why I hit him up on my 25th birthday. I was like, hey, like, can you do I'm turned 25. Can you do some pictures for me? He's like, yeah, of course. And my friend Age came to town, and we got super drunk before the shoot. And so during the shoot, we didn't really actually finish all the pictures, but I had such a good time with Derek, and I was like, oh, like, let's finish this like in a couple of days. And he's like, okay. And I used that to kind of like swoop in,
Keep it
and
going.
like, yeah,
You like keeping that deal moving
yeah.
a little bit.
And he didn't get it. It was freaking snowing, and I was like, obviously I don't want to shoot in the snow, but I was like, hey, do you
Those
wanna
would probably be good
shoot?
pictures though.
They were. He like, yeah, a lot of people, there's one that looks like it should be on a magazine. It looks really cool. But I was like, it's cold. I was like, do you want to like go get a drink or something? And he's like, me? He's like, it's your birthday. I was like, yeah, it's my birthday. Like, let's go like get a drink. And so, and then from that day on, he's been helping me. He took so many pictures of me. He's done so many shoots with me, and he's like got me into my modeling.
Excellent.
And he knew a bunch of people like just from his photography from the years past. They started following me. They started seeing our work that we created. And then that's what got me a bunch of collabs. Like a bunch of his friends reached out to shoot me. And then finally it was November, December, January, February. So like 4.5 months, and then March, I had new photographers reach out like, hey, like, let's collab. And at first I was really confused, like, what's a collab? I was like,
How
what
does
is
this work?
what
Yeah.
is it?
Well, you're new to the industry. You gotta
Learn the terminology.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I doing here? And then more and more, I shot with like 3 in March, and I actually got my first paid shoot in March. It was for Dime Bags, the wallets and the bag company, at the Marijuana Mansion. And that was my first, like, I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Like, I was
That's
like
awesome.
4 months
That's
in.
exciting.
Yeah.
That is
And I
exciting.
got my first paid shoot, and I was like, wow. And then, so Derek continued to shoot me. More people have reached out, and now, since June, like my June schedule is booked. My last month, my bad.
Oh, you're good.
In
You're
May, I did, I think like 15 shoots. It was like, it's crazy. And like,
You're busy.
yeah.
Getting after it.
And it's all in between work, and cleaning, and just all like my side jobs that I do. So, but it's been fun. And, I never even imagined like coming on and doing something like this. Like, it's so cool. And then like,
Well, you're crushing it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You're making our jobs really easy.
And then like even today, I had a shoot. It was like super like off the chain, like, or off the clutch. Like they
Off the clutch.
Or
That's a new one.
or
I know off the chain, but
Off the clutch, I
off
like
the
that.
clutch sounds
What-
like it's smelling.
'Cause I mean,
what is
I'd
it
drive a
when
stick,
it's like
so.
off the
Off the meat rack is another one.
when it's
That's
like-
fresh. That's fresh off the meat rack, which is also
I
off
say
the
that?
chain.
Is that what it is,
Because the
though?
meat hangs on the chain.
I mean, look, that could go a couple ways.
But I didn't know
Off
I was
the
gonna,
clutch.
I like that.
Yeah. I think I'm saying it wrong, but it's like when you didn't think you were gonna do it. Like, I didn't think I was gonna have time, but the photographer, they own like this super like 90s clothing brand, and he's like, hey, if you have time, like come down. This is where we're gonna be. We're gonna shoot like this little video. And I was like, I'm busy, and I was like, I knew I had this today, but I was like, I'm gonna make it work. So I fit stuff in all the time, and like I do stuff like that. And
That's what you got to do. You just
Yeah.
got to stay, willing and able to try to do the right thing. And like, so today I'm on this other level today because I have been trying to implement more motivational like talks and listening to that stuff to start out my day.
Helps.
And so I started my day off that way, but then I just kept it rolling. So I was like listening to it all day in between phone calls. I'll pause it and stuff. So I'm like, I got all these quotes in my mind, and just like what you're doing, like taking the opportunities that you can, doing something that is going to move you forward. You keep progressing, you keep taking opportunities, and you just do it. Like you don't need to talk about it. You don't need to like tell people what you're planning on doing. You just show them with the action,
and that's volume to your character for sure.
That's inspiring.
It is, man, because one of the most inspiring things I heard and try to live by myself in this business and just in general in life is take every opportunity. Because you don't know what's going to come about it. You might open up a new avenue, meet a new connection. Shout out to Derek, your photographer that's now your boyfriend. Sounds like a nice man.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a huge avenue.
Yeah, huge connect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're talking about different employment. You're talking about your story. And by the way, thanks for opening up and sharing so much of that journey, because that is a cool experience that you went through, traveling around, trying to set a new foundation, hitting some speed bumps, trying to get through it, and you got through it. So I think that's an awesome story. But talking about professions, we had one here, which is, so you can choose between these two careers, all right? Either you're a motivational speaker doing seminars around the globe, so that's your full-time job, that's your gig, or being a professional photographer with gigs around the world.
That one, definitely. I actually did, when I was in college, and before I got into college, I was a photographer, and then I did like senior pictures, and I did pictures for the fair, and then that's how I like had a bunch of money getting out of high school. And then in college, there was a professor that noticed my work, and she asked me to be the co-editor and photographer for the school newspaper, and so I did that. And then I got out from behind the camera because my co-editor, like, she borrowed my camera and never gave it back. And I was like, and like every time I like asked her about it, she like acted like brand new about it. So now I look back and I'm like, whatever, because it'd be like a 10-year-old camera. I'd have to update anyway. Yeah. But now I'm in front of the camera. So, yeah.
So you've always had like a passion for the lens, capturing a moment. Mm-hmm. See,
it's an art.
I was thinking that. When I was putting that together, I'm like, she does modeling. I'm thinking photography. Mm-hmm. I would totally go. I would want to do that motivational speaker, like be
around
up there.
The world?
Yeah, be up there. You're like telling people like, this ain't gonna be easy today. You want today to be easy? Like, well, you want a cush life? Like, I want to be up there, like, and then like just that power. That would be so much fun to me.
Yeah, I would probably take that option for the would you rather, because I'm not a great photographer. My dad's a photographer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he did it for years. He did some management and that. He did a little bit more of stationary photography, like church divisions. He didn't so much do schools, but it was like very structured, traditional shots. So I grew up with a little bit of a photography background, I guess. Dad would always set up the studio in the house and we'd get some cool shots.
That's cool.
But I was not good at it, I don't think. I'm not a patient person,
It definitely,
it takes patience in photography, I feel like.
It's just the right second. That's what I do miss, being behind the camera, because like even Derek for the longest time had to learn like my angles and like different sides of my face. And like I remember that when I would take pictures, like just one little movement can make the whole picture look or that person
throws the light off and everything.
Yeah, and so I do miss that whenever I look at pictures that some photographers have taken of me, and I'm like, oh, like I just would have done this different or like something.
So do you have that opportunity though while it's happening? Like they're like, okay, this is what I'm capturing so far, and then do you have a chance to direct them a little bit?
Kind of critique it.
Some of them, like I've worked with a couple photographers a couple of times, and when you're more comfortable, it's definitely like, hey, let me see that shot, and let me see. But some of them, like it was like one photographer I worked with, we didn't even talk like the whole shoot. Like we got there and I was trying to be like, hey, like how are
Isn't
you?
Isn't that kind of awkward though?
Silent working partner.
And he's super, like he's good. Like the pictures turned out good, but I never saw those pictures even there, because a lot of them will be like, oh yeah, like we'll show you, and but some of them I didn't see until they sent me like some edits or whatever. So it just definitely depends. But like Derek, when he shoots with anybody, he like shows them their pictures. He'll let them like direct him if they want to. Like it just depends on that personality of the photographer.
So like long term, would you want to like get involved with something kind of along those lines of like, because you spoke about a lot of passion there about capturing the moment and like getting the right angles, like you got an eye for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, is that something you could see yourself, like you have a lot of success doing what you're doing now in order to like catapult that
To
venture?
do both, yeah. I would probably do both. I worked with a girl named Mahala. She found me from North Carolina, and she came through Denver and wanted to collab with me. And she's also a photographer, and she said on one of her stories, like, this is why I got into photography. And then one of her reasons was like, I'm a model, but she's like, I like to be able to direct and like be able to have control. So I feel the same way, I think. But definitely, if I could like get back into being behind the lens, I would do it as well.
Yeah, because then you see both sides of it. It's like a director, producer, star of the show, kind of like a Jason Bateman almost. That's what's great about him with that show, Ozark. He writes, directs.
Oh, does he
stars
write
in it.
that too?
He's a writer.
You know, the
director.
credits, I've seen all the episodes. I just don't read credits.
Well, maybe you should pay attention, Art.
You know, sorry,
But-
all the producers out there.
There's a lot of
That's hard work.
It is hard work.
There's two photographers I can think of that I follow. There's like his name's like Josh and Kyra. They both do like self-portraits of themselves. Like they set up their stuff, and they're super good at it. And I was like, I wish I could learn how to do that even, because the way that they catch themselves and like the creative ways that they do it, I never did self-portraits like that.
Are they
And
doing it
so-
with like a button, like something that they could hold? And
I
so
think
they're like, they can like hit it in their hand.
I mean, I know that's definitely an option, but I think a
pretty
lot of
animated.
it's like the self timer too.
Oh,
Or like
yeah.
I've seen some setups where the camera's connected to like a laptop and they could just like click or like do that if it's off to the side.
Okay,
But,
that makes sense.
yeah, there's a lot of different ways. But back then it was like in 2010, so it was like not new, but it still wasn't as advanced as it is today. So
Isn't it crazy how far things have come just in the last 20 years?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
absolutely.
born in the late 80s.
Same here.
I know I'm older than all y'all in here. I know that.
You got me by
And-
2 years. I
and it's-
turned 32 on Monday.
Happy
born in
early
95.
birthday.
Hey,
thanks, man.
Since we
Appreciate it.
can't say it,
Yeah.
happy early birthday, Kevin.
You can say it.
Well, I'll say it next. So I'm going to give you a happy early birthday,
And
and
then
I'm
you
going to
can-
give you a belated birthday too.
That's
And
very
maybe
nice,
in
Art.
real life, in the middle, not the podcast, maybe I'll just say happy birthday on your real
Hey,
birthday.
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
It's a possibility.
You know, we're getting older, man.
I don't know what I was talking about there. I got sidetracked.
You were onto something, but what I was going to say is, so your ultimate goal was to kind of be like in that, taking this modeling thing to like a brand ambassador position, being, influence. What do you think is the biggest obstacle to overcome right now in a competitive market like that? What's the biggest thing that's working, not necessarily against you, but that's in your way of achieving that? What would you say to that?
I think it's my own self-confidence, actually, like, because no one's really, or I feel it, like, I feel like I've heard Derek say it too, like, other models feel like we're competing against each other, but we're not actually, like, it's not like we're out there competing for money. Like, initially we are, because, we're all looking for, like, that person to find us, but it's like, I constantly feel like I am competing against other girls, like, I actually lost like a bunch of weight, because I was trying to like be because thinner girls, I feel like every position that they're in, they look better, and like those are the ones that get a lot of attention, and so that in the beginning, I actually I battled that. I lost a lot of weight, and struggled with my self-image, but now like that I'm getting more confident and seeing my pictures, like you can see it in my work. That's just like blown up, but you can tell that I feel more confident and I'm not as scared, and like I don't feel like I need to really compete. But it's just my own ego, I think, and like I get really down on myself sometimes, especially if my work like isn't appreciated, or it doesn't get as many, and it sounds bad, but it doesn't get as many likes as you'd like, doesn't get the attention, and then I will also compare myself to like some of the other Denver models, like they have maybe 5,000 to 10,000 followers, but then I also have to remember I've only been doing this for about 200 days. So
yeah, you're new to the game. I mean, we're
Yeah.
2 years young in this, and we're still babies.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Like and you got to learn. You got to learn by making mistakes, and you just
Yeah.
keep going, and that's how you get through it. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's awesome. That's a great question that you asked, Kevin, and the answer I think was phenomenal too, because Like that's where the answer is for all of us. I feel like is within. Like what else is in your way? Like, you know, it's your choice if that's going to be something that you'll back down from or you're going to push through. And yeah, I came in tonight kind of having this feeling of like, you know, we're grinders in this room and I'm feeling super motivated. So I'm trying to push that out on the air, you know, and just give it to the people because it's true stuff, man. And all these little analogies, all these little cliches that we hear day to day, start repeating them in your head and see what happens differently for your day. You know, we call them cliches and like, you know, whatever, but, you know, start applying it and start taking those opportunities, you know, because to lose weight, like I'm having an issue with that right now. And you got to stay disciplined. Like I started working out and then I slipped and then like that's something that's within is to stay disciplined. Like you're doing it for a bigger reason. So you're going to make the tough thing, you know, not have the beer or not have the carbonate. Like
I don't want to give up the beer art.
You know, that's where I feel like a good amount of my weight comes from is from beer, honestly.
And yeah, and like what you're saying, I mean, you have to look within yourself to make that choice. And it's sometimes it can be tough to talk about, but I think it's important to, one thing we always talk about is owning it on the show.
Yeah.
And you obviously own it. You know, they always say we're our own worst critics, right? We're always going to overanalyze ourselves. And that's something we had to get over pretty early on in this business too, is just seeing ourselves on camera being idiots.
Oh, super critical.
But
super critical.
It's amazing when you just it takes time, like you said. You've developed confidence in yourself. You're a little bit more like, okay, I got this now. It's amazing, like the quality of the work and the feeling you get from that. Just putting it out there, knowing that I got this.
Yeah. And imagine. Sorry, you could go next, but just imagine less than a year you've been doing it. Imagine all the connections. Like just picture yourself like 2 years. Like you keep up that same momentum. Just imagine the networking. Imagine the portfolio that you build.
I'm excited for that too. Like I'm super excited for that. Like, because I look at all these other girls and I'm like, I forget like, oh, they've been doing this for at least 2 years, you know, or more than a year. But like just the fluidity of their emotions and like capturing emotion in their photos. I'm like, I want to. I'm definitely working towards that, but it's just I don't know how to do all that yet, or I haven't learned. And like, and I'm a freelance. Like I'm not signed with anybody, and I'm not like learning, like taking classes either. I'm just like, it's basically just watch, like see and do, and trial and error and stuff. But definitely my confident, like I shot with another photographer for a second time, and he shot me like super early on, and then he was like shooting me again, and he was like, oh my God, he's like, just within this couple of months, he's like, you've changed drastically. He's like, I can't believe this. And I'm like, and I just feel more confident. And like I had to train my face too. Like I had to remember like how I look and how it's gonna look in the picture, and like how to hold my face. And like I shot with Elizabeth Marks, and she used to be a bunny, and so she gave me a lot of tips, like just these little things I was doing with my lips. She was like, just don't, she's like, just change this one little thing. And like, it changed a bunch of my pictures and like the poses and stuff. And she reminded me to always point my toes. And that's something I forget about, but she's like, just these little bitty things will like change everything. And it has, and like, it's helped me, in a bunch of shoots. So
that's awesome. You gotta love it when you run into mentors and people who, you know, cause if you've been in the business, you've done it, and you want to actually be a good person, then you want to see other people succeed. So that's when you do what that lady did for you, and kind of start giving you the tools of the trade. Yeah. Like, you know, I've done a lot of carpentry, like a lot of construction, and boy, you can have the right tool in your hand, and you could be doing it wrong the entire time, making it so much more difficult for yourself. And so it's all those little things that you can change and finesse. And so I wonder about, because in podcasting, Kevin and I have experienced that for the most part, everyone's very open arms and welcome. I used to make hip hop rap music, and I was trying to F with that industry. Kevin did rock and roll and you know, guitars and stuff. And we felt like the music industry was very judgmental. Like everybody was competing like what you're talking about. So I was wondering, like, have you ever reached out to any of the local models and been like, hey, let's collaborate, let's get together? Like, you know, maybe you,
There is like there definitely are some that don't want to work like well, and me too. I don't want to work with everybody, but
Yeah.
like some people are more snobby, you know, or like won't work with you, or maybe it's just because it's you. There is definitely jealousy, and there's a lot of girls that just want to work with Derek and they don't want to work with me, and like that bothers me, but I'm like, it's whatever, you know, it happens. But it's weird, like and it's definitely hard, like being with a photographer too, because it's just like there's models that want to do boudoir, they want to do swim, and then but they only want to work with him, and then like when it comes to me, it's like they don't want to work with me, and so I definitely have been on the jealous side. I've had girls, you know, be jealous of me. And it's not trying to be like in an arrogant or like way or anything, but I won the Denver Models photo competition. So I feel like they're like a bunch of girls are like super nice, and like
well, congrats on that though.
Thank you.
I mean, you took the town.
Yeah, that was hard.
Denver's a pretty big town.
And they had like 10,000 followers, and it was super hard. And like in the whole day, the girl that we were like going up against, it was 50-50 the whole day, the whole entire day. And we just like we reached out to friends, family, like all day, and then finally at the end I won by like 3%, so it was really tight. But yeah, like just things like that, like we had friends we reached out to, you know, and we're like, hey, vote for us, and we have no idea if they did, but you know, they're friends with these people too, so it's like we didn't know, you don't know who's
which way is it gonna go.
Yeah, you don't know who's voting for who. And people got on there just to vote against me too, you know, like people.
Haters gonna hate.
You gotta love the haters. Though.
Yeah.
You gotta embrace the hate.
Yeah.
You know, which it sounds like you do.
And I definitely do, yeah. Because my haters are my motivators. You know, they really
That's
are.
It. They're making noise, and you know, whether it's good or bad, it's noise.
And I have people that follow me that never like any of my stuff. They never comment, never. Nothing, but it's like they have me on Facebook, they have me on my Snapchat, they have me on Instagram, but they never like anything, but they're the first to watch my stories.
Of course.
They're the first ones to see everything, and I'm like,
a little bit jealousy there, of course.
Yeah, and you know, I get it, you know, but coming from a small town too, it's like I'm chasing my dreams, like I'm like
small town, big dreams.
Yeah,
yeah,
like
you can only
I can see those vibes.
You can only think about what other people think so much. You know, it's like who really cares what anybody else thinks?
Yeah, exactly. Like we said earlier, don't let anyone tell you can't do something.
Yeah.
You know, you have the right mindset. I can already tell. You know, you're willing to take constructive criticism, innovate. What can I do better? You've been in this business for 200 days, and you're obviously making a huge trajectory in the upward motion.
Yeah.
So keep building on that.
Yeah, and like sorry to like kind of backtrack, but on the confidence thing that's helped me, I used to be 187 pounds when I was in high school, and so being as thin as I am now, I got down to 130, lost over 50 pounds, like that was a big confidence boost for me.
Oh,
like,
congratulations.
Sure.
Yeah, and like seeing
how long did that take you?
So I had a lot of like backslides. I started when I was a junior. Or I was going into my senior year that summer. So I worked the whole summer of the year of my senior year. I think I lost 30 pounds, but I wasn't like thin, like it was weird. Like I lost weight and you could tell, but it wasn't like anything I'm now. But I was in college, I still worked out, did what I did, but I maintained my weight all the way up until I turned 25, and right from 24 to 25, I really started to like lift more. I do an hour of cardio every time I go to the gym. Now, like I had to change that drastically.
So is that like 3-4 times a week or?
Yeah, I do the stairs for an hour, and I usually go Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays. So it varies, but it's basically like four times a week. And then I fast as well. I know that's
no, but okay. So I was getting into the fasting. So how long do you fast for?
I
Is
do
it
the
like
20-hour fast. Like,
It's like
yeah.
intermittent.
I wasn't
Yeah.
going that.
I
I was like 14 hours.
I do
That's
17.
fine for me.
I do
Yeah.
17 hours.
You do that?
Yep.
Every day?
Yeah, not every day, but most days. I typically,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a beer drinker, so I end up getting a little bit sideways during the evening, and then I won't eat anything until I get home from work the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about a 17-hour stretch,
That's wild
which is
to me.
probably unhealthy because of
Yeah, I
alcohol
mean,
intake.
because people are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, well, it's not the healthiest, because I did lose a lot of muscle, but I do still like work out with weights and stuff. But since I'm at Fogo, we get a free meal after every shift, so I usually just eat around, and it's weird because I eat late, and mostly people are like, no, I can't eat past like 7.
And it's delicious food.
Yeah, it's super good. It's funny. I don't eat red meat. I
Oh, really?
really don't eat a lot of meat. I eat chicken. So I have like 2 or 3 chicken legs after a shift, and I eat salads and fruits, and like I had to cut out breads and pastas. I mean, I
Carbs.
still eat them, but not as much as I used to. And yeah, that's helped it dramatically change. But like I said, like it's not the healthiest because I only eat once a day, and it's probably less than 1,000 calories. So, but yeah, it's what works. It's what works for me, and like I think I'm at a healthy weight, and like I get my stuff done at Vasa. They have those the in-body tests, and everything's like normal and like where it should be. So, and I mean, I went to the doctor and everything's good. So it works for me, but like for everybody, like
Sure.
because so many girls will reach out. They're like, what do you do? And I'm like, I fast, dude. Like I don't
Torture myself.
kind of like
I torture
I'm like,
myself for 20
like-
hours every single day.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about my next meal constantly. I'm
Yeah.
always like, all right, as I'm eating lunch, I'm like, what sounds good for dinner? so my biggest thing is I'm like too big of a foodie. I don't know. I think everybody is, so who am I? But it's just my portion control. So that's one area where I'm constantly
Arthur,
trying to improve.
You're the hungriest person I've ever known.
Well, dude, that's why I'm your business partner, is because I'm hungry. I'm hungry to get it. I'm hungry
I like how you
physically
spun that.
and
I like
mentally.
Yeah.
You know, but no, that takes discipline. That takes time and effort, and you just gotta keep work. Gosh, it's so interesting how often we get tested. Like my patience gets tested all the time. Like even with technology,
Oh, yeah.
like my phone, like logging into my work and having to do the verification call, like, and then it doesn't work, and
yeah.
then I do the verification call, and it's like, oh, sorry, the apps won't connect now,
Yeah.
and I feel like banging the desk.
Gmail
but like
sucks
I can't
with it.
Oh,
do
it's the
that.
worst. It's the worst. I
Yeah.
hate it. Technology anger, king right here.
Yeah.
I lose my mind very easily.
Yeah.
He'll attest to that. I have a short fuse with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Things get me riled up. But it's always important to accept constructive criticism
Mm-hmm.
and constantly trying to innovate and build on yourself. It's tough to do in this day and age because
Yeah.
I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. We called out some of the influencers on social media because they set such a standard that I feel is a little bit unrealistic.
Yeah,
I
let's
like the
rehash that.
balance. Yeah, I think we should rehash
We
that.
should
because,
rehash that.
because it's important to also showcase the bad times as well, right?
Yeah.
It's like everything's great, but this is life.
That's like a really big thing for me too, because I battle with anxiety and depression, and like bad. Like I even take like an anxiety like med. But on my Instagram and on my social medias, I look like the happiest person. I look like everything's great, but it's like my friends are like, not even some of my closest friends know, like I'm freaking. Some days I'm like internally like
Hurting.
dying. I'm hurting. Like they don't know. Like, and it is hard and that's something I battle with like in this industry, and it sucks too because it's like it's about beauty. Like people are looking at like at your weight, they're looking at your face, they're looking at your makeup, and I'm probably one of the only I don't know how to do my makeup. I only wear eyeliner, and so that's something too that I'm like, oh, I wish I knew how to do my makeup, or like just little things like that I freak out about my face. And like sometimes I honestly feel like I have like body dysmorphia. Like I'll look at myself and I'm like, in the mirror I see my 187 pound self, but I'm 130 pounds, but I still see that girl, and I'm like thinking I can't eat that day, or thinking like someone's gonna look at my pictures and think I'm fat in a section, and like it's like a lot of mental, and I do deal with it, and I know a lot of other models do too. But yeah, we make it look like our lives are perfect, and we make it look like everything's great, but it's not. And like a lot of other models do like the mental health awareness, and like yeah, we make it look good, but
So
internet
what do you think? I
fake.
mean, you're saying a lot of real stuff right now that a lot of people feel and don't put out there. So courage to you there for just putting it out there.
Yeah, thanks for being open with
Yeah,
us.
and I've talked about this a lot, but I've overcome like an opiate addiction. I still deal with like, thinking about pills and stuff, but I've come a long way with that. So like we understand the struggles here.
Yeah.
Like so with that being said, like because influencers and people in your position have this allure and power to what they do. Like, what do you think would be the best way to present that other side? Like, maybe you don't necessarily need to take pictures and showcase it like that, but maybe, writing it out or, like, I wonder what the best way would be because when, everybody has these expectations, but then if the people that are setting those expectations want to step out of their comfort zone and start showcasing the real struggles behind what they do, like what's the best way maybe for you that you could think of doing that? Or
well, honestly, it's like because I have my like close friends on my Snapchat, so I'll put like more of my personal stuff on my Snapchat for those friends because it's like people that don't know me in the Instagram world, kind of like, and aren't looking at that because that is really hard, like because I don't put that on my Instagram, like
does that hurt your Instagram page?
And that's kind of like it's kind of hard to
I'm
answer because I'm thinking of there are some girls that talk about it, but they don't put it on like their feed, their wall. They put it on like a story, and they'll like put their story on. They'll like do like a clip or like write something. I've seen a bunch of girls put it like they'll write. Because some people break, like they like have a day and they'll put something out there, but then they'll take it down like right away after they do it. Because it's hard because when people go to your profile and they're just looking for
potential sponsors or they don't want to, that's not selling technically.
It kind of, and it's like a lot of people do, it's like different because if you're an influencer for like, and you're just popular and people just like you can put stuff out there like that. But like for some people that are just trying to sell themselves and like get noticed like that, it's really hard to put your problems out there because then it just kind of, it sounds bad, but it's I'm not saying that. It's like,
well, no, having that professional image, that professional look, because the pages is a networking tool.
Yeah. And
it's
like,
not necessarily a diary.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, because I'll go through and I'll read stuff like that, but I'm not thinking, oh my God, like, why are you doing it? Like, I'll sympathize or empathize with that because I understand. But somebody else that doesn't have those issues and is going through that and they read it and they'd be like, oh, well, this person's just trying to get attention or something like that. And like, that's kind of what I'm scared of, like to put out, like, to do that on my bigger platform, like because sometimes I do break down and I'll put something on my Snapchat, but it's because I have like really good friends and like my friends know me and they'll reach out to me, and I know that like, I'm not going to be judged on that. But if I did that, I'm like kind of scared to put that on Instagram because it's like because I've seen girls put screenshots of what other people send them, and it's like super like,
it can get a little cringy.
Yeah, it's like, why would someone even say that to somebody? Or like,
there's some like, because there's some weird comments out there, like, like people say the oddest things, and like from the protection of their, screen behind that computer, like, come on, people, like, okay, if you're gonna spend time to go ahead and judge other people online and put negative stuff out there, I hope y'all are listening, you trolls out there. Get out from underneath the bridge, look in a mirror, and start pointing the finger at yourself. If you want to be so critical about everybody else, why don't you be critical about yourself?
It's the keyboard warriors, man. It's something that we have to roll with. It's a part of it, especially in this day and age. I mean, everybody has a voice with Twitters and the hashtag. Social media. We've talked about so much on this program, just the pros and
benefits
cons. The pros and cons. Because obviously it's huge for what you do. It's huge for what we do. But at the same time, you really start to see patterns in people that are it's just not pleasant. So I think the best case scenario, which I'm gathering from this conversation, everybody has the same mindset, is you just got to kind of understand that that's what it is, and just put one foot in front of the other, and keep grinding for what the big goal is.
But then it's like there's a lot of girls that put out, or like guys too, that put out like positivity, like, oh, like women empowerment or like body positivity and all this stuff, but then you meet them and they're the complete opposite, kind of like the people that, you know,
Oh, they're just saying it to put their facade in.
yeah, and then you
Put on a
meet
facade.
them and you're like, oh wait, well that's not what you go on about. So it's like some people are super fake, and and like, yeah, that's what I try to stay away from, like, because I'm like, basically what you see is what you get. And like yeah, like, and when I meet people, like, I'm super shy too. It kind of doesn't seem like it, but I get
seem
super,
like it at all, Brynn.
I get
very
super
open with us.
like, and I get super intimidated. And like when there's like a huge group of people, I'll kind of like just kind of stand back at first, and then when I meet someone, I kind of like open up and stuff. But yeah, it's like intimidating at meets and stuff, and then like I see all these people online and like what they put on their Instagrams, and then I meet them and I'm like, oh, I'm like, you're nothing like that. So I try to just be like genuine when I do meet people, and like the same for everybody. So but then I have resting bitch face too, so that doesn't help sometimes.
I think I have that, but on the man side.
Yeah.
Because people tell me all the time, like, why you look so mad? I'm like, I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
Kevin, you just look like an asshole. Okay?
Love y'all. You know, but it's important to recognize those things too. You know, that's what I'm learning from this conversation. You're obviously well aware of what you're doing. It's going to absolutely propel your success, because recognizing the things that are happening around you. You know, you seem very intelligent. You're in touch with yourself. You shared a lot of great things that I think a lot of people are going to relate to. And that's important. It's important, you know, because so many people are stuck in their heads and there's these expectations. And hearing that from you, I think is going to help a lot of people. You know, because I'm sure a lot of people look up to you and go, you know, we see her on Instagram, she's doing all these shoots. But the realness of it, the real stuff that we all deal with, we talk about it every week on the show, the problems you and I struggle with, you know, whatever the case may be, it's important to put it out there. And we should keep doing that.
For sure. And so one thing that we like to ask most of our guests, sometimes we forget, but is if you could give one piece of advice to humanity to help better humanity to be better tomorrow, like what would that piece of advice be?
Well, it's not really like maybe it's the right answer, but I always tell people, like, you're like, take chances. You know how I always take chances. Every opportunity you get, take it, because your time is gonna keep going, and like money comes and goes, but your time like isn't gonna stop. So like never waste your time, and just be a good person to people, because the universe has always given back to me. Like everything I've put out and put faith in, it's always come back. So like I believe in karma, you know, like good karma is a thing, bad karma is definitely a thing. And yeah, so if you're just good to people, I believe that the universe will just be good to you. And
That's strong.
That is strong.
That's strong stuff. I mean, the whole, you know, time is of the essence, another cliche that's absolutely true.
yeah, and I even got like a tattoo, like a clock and like a compass.
I like that.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
tell people, they're like, what's it for? And I tell them the same thing, like your time, like money comes and goes, but your time is like going, like to take every chance, every opportunity, because you might like pass up something that's like gonna completely change your life.
Right.
And with the whole karma thing, I'm going to attest that all the shady, dumb, selfish decisions I made in the past, I for sure paid for. And I feel like I'm almost out of the woods, you know, from all the dumb shit I did in my 20s. I feel like I'm about out of the woods on that. But it's so true. Like everything has a cost. Every action that you take has you know, a ripple effect. There's always a consequence to pay, if that's good or bad. You know, you're gonna have to own up to it at some point.
Yeah, and I think that's why I ran into so many things that I did, like, because I did, like, when I was younger, I was stupid. Like, there's a lot of people I burned, like, and I look back now, and I wish, you know, you wish you hadn't. I've done it, but you did it, but you do pay for it, and you grow as a person, and you move past it, and you treat people better, and you do better. But yeah, it's definitely a thing. So when people are out there still just continually being bad people, it's like, it's definitely going to come back and bite you. So
Absolutely. That's it. I believe in the same thing. You know, you get out what you put in, kind of thing. You know, be good to others, they'll be good to you. Treat people who want to be treated. The old cliches, right? But the older I get, the more I realize that.
yeah,
You know?
definitely.
And it's important to recognize the good people around you. You know, that's the other thing. And recognize yourself, you know, and own it.
Yeah.
You know, really dig deep and own it. And it sounds like you do that, Brynn. You own it. You know, you've been very open. You shared a lot of great information with some of our viewers and listeners tonight.
Yeah.
Gave an inside look into the modeling industry. I learned a lot.
Oh,
you
for
know?
sure, yeah.
This was a great connection, and
It
we really
was.
appreciate you spending some time with us.
Yeah, I had a good time. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're going to keep the ball moving. We generally have people come back in the next, 6 months or so, do a quick follow-up. And it's good making, continual conversations, and that gives the listeners a chance to see how you progressed. And I feel like we really accomplished, showing all the people that know of what you do professionally, showing them a different side of you and some real shit too. Life isn't easy. Like I started this show out, like it's not easy. We got to expect there to be issues. We don't know what they're going to be, but you just got to stay adaptable. So believe and achieve overcoming your problems this week. Believe in the fact that when you're out there working hard and you're trying to get it, that you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to have some flub ups. Believe that, and then achieve getting over those mistakes. I feel like I've touched this one before, but it's super solid. Look what can be accomplished if you're trying to move to a new state, a pandemic hits you, people are ripping you off for money, and you just keep working at it. Look what can be accomplished. So believe it and achieve that.
Huge motivational story for sure, Brynn. You're definitely, you got people fired up. And before we close tonight, once again, where can people find you? Where can they reach out to you?
Definitely, my biggest, you guys can find me on Instagram. It's AYEEITSBRYNN.
Hey, it's Brynn.
It's
Brynn.
Brynn. That's me. Or you can find me, that girl with the hair.
That girl with the hair.
That's my
that is a pretty
hashtag.
epic hair, I will say.
Yeah, 11 years, so it's paying off.
Wow. No kidding.
Yes.
Well, good for you. I wish you continued success.
Thank
You got a good head on your shoulders. You got the right vision. You're willing to accept constructive criticism, and we all have to be susceptible to that. In life, it's a part of it.
It sucks. Like I hate. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, like why did you say that? But I'm like, okay, it's got to be. I got to change it. So.
Something's going to come out of it for
Yeah.
sure. And that mindset alone, it's difficult to maintain. I can get better with that. We can always continue to learn, and that's it. Let's just tomorrow's a new day. Let's get after it.
Yeah. For sure.
Let's let this thing rip. Tater chip. Love you, Art.
Love you too, man.
Another great episode.
Brynn, it was a
104.
pleasure meeting
Brynn,
you.
So
Thank you
much
guys
fun.
so
You're going to be back in here. Maybe you bring your boy back in here next time. We could do a dual podcast and
bring
talk
him in.
photography.
Bring
and
in
stuff.
Derek. We'll pump his
That'd be
awesome.
photography
Yeah, that'd be a lot
a
of
little bit. That's what it's about. Just meeting people, connecting.
Yeah, collabing, putting the word
just
out
having
there.
a good time, man. Yeah, and just learning. Because every week I learned a lot tonight. So on that note, guys, you know the spiel. If you already haven't hit that subscribe button, well, what are you doing? If you're just listening, you need to watch. That's the way we roll over here. Follow us on all social media platforms. It's been another great episode, Art.
DCPC representing out of DTC. We get it here at Denver. We crush it, and we're going to be back next week with Amy from
right.
Fox News. Let's go.
That's right. We'll see you guys next week. Y'all be good to yourselves. You deserve it.